Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and for a lot of people, it's finally happened. Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell have now held a press conference, a rather long one, and laid out what their cases are going to be. Now, number one, I want to say this. In terms of naming more of the eyewitnesses, evidence, not as much as you would think, in the sense that everything that we've talked about here has already kind of been out there, all right? But they are running with those same narratives that you are hearing all over the place, from Dominion, okay, to software hacks, to mail-in voting. That's the case that they laid out in front of the mainstream media while combating them. Now, what were some of the more, explosive, relevant claims that maybe, haven't been the talking points of either the right or the left? And I want to say this right now, guys. I am not calling an election. You know that we cover it all here. I'm no fan of Rudy Giuliani. However, I think he did a really good job here in maintaining, it's tough because he was sweaty for sure. I had it very small, but he was all sweaty, but maintaining a presence without getting too angry and saying, basically, look, this thing hasn't been certified. It hasn't been called. We want the votes counted. He did play the left and right politics all the time. Some of the things that were out there is I didn't expect to hear Hugo Chavez's name as much as I did. But when they were talking about voting machines and companies, and listen, I don't like voting machines. It's not just this election. I've been railing against these things, pre-2004, pre-me getting on the air. One of the reasons I got involved in this is I'm like, wow, these Diebold machines, that's what we're running with. And that was when you had two skull and bones buddies, two distant cousins running against each other, okay? And the media military industrial complex backed a guy named John Kerry on one side. And by the way, there's a lot of evidence that John Kerry may have actually won that election, but he didn't contest it. Weird. And I'll never forget this, but I think it was The Daily Show, Comedy Central, with Jon Stewart at the time, had put out a book, a hardcover book, and in the middle of it was this huge insert of Skull versus Bones, George W. Bush, gonna box Kerry. Now here's the other weird thing. Let's see if we can pull that up live, because we do it live. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Don't worry, we're going to talk about everything from Sidney Powell saying this is 1775 and that Trump won in a landslide, okay, to Rudy Giuliani saying that lawyers have quit the case because of death threats, and he can't reveal the names of many of the witnesses because they fear that the media is not only going to attack them, but that their safety is in concern. But you guys know that we love to do it live here. Subscribe and share. Okay, let's do that live right now. Skull versus Bones. Let's see if we can find it. Skull versus Bones Comedy Central poster book. No, didn't come up. Wasn't Skull again. See if I can type in 2004 election. Skull. Did that correct me? Versus Bones. Kerry Bush poster. Type in boxing if it's next. Man, is that, there it is. Bam. Yes, there it is. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart and the Founding Fathers presents Skull versus. It was a big joke. It was a big joke even then, the rigging of our elections. But now when you got a guy that wants to contest the election, and here it is on the back, by the way, what I was talking about. I mean, we're talking about the big conspiracy theory layout all the way in the central. We're talking. It goes into Hollow Earth. It does the Jews trope. Just about everything you can imagine on this thing. All right. So if you've never there it is right there. There's the whole thing. The shadow government. Let's see if we can open that in a new tab. Come on, baby. You can do it. Thumbs it up. Giuliani, I think, was very well poised. But again, here we go. Chaos 2020. Is that what we're headed for right now? I mean, that one doesn't look like it wants to open. But Chaos 2020, that's what we're headed for. Because now you have Trump's base a little bit more reinvigorated. So many had been like, what's going on? He hasn't spoken. The only time he's given any kind of a press conference was Operation Warp Speed, which, again, many of his base are and should be very wary of. If you want my take on the latest on Operation Warp Speed, we did an exclusive at Rockfin for about 30 plus minutes today on Operation Warp Speed. Make sure you make that free account. It's free all day. And I appreciate all you premium members out there supporting me as well. So, basically it looks to me like at the end of the day, we will see where the courts go. I think much of this is going to end up in the Supreme Court. For instance, there was a lot of push on the Secretary of State and Michigan, and how they're basically saying they will not overturn any votes, which is odd because you would think, if you had the evidence and it still hasn't been certified, that you would kind of legally have to, but maybe not. Again, Giuliani basically put that to left-right politics. They also said that this is a coordinated global effort. George Soros' name was thrown around. I'm not going to lie. That was also in there. A lot of Venezuela I didn't expect. Here's another key point. We had that story out there that a German server had been taken via the election because there was talks of the votes getting counted there, right? And I got, some wind of that, and people were like, yeah, this is it. This is Trump taking down the deep state. They've got it all. Remember, guys, you were told about fictional blockchain watermarks to set up the deep state weeks ago. Watch what you believe. But Sidney Powell did say that they did get that server. Now, when she literally said, we don't know if the good guys or the bad guys got it. And I mean, they said it's Trump against the world and tyranny, basically. I'm not going to lie. That is how she framed it. Big tech, global leaders, it's him against everybody else. Again, I'm not saying any of this, but if you don't believe me, go. This is the Cliff Notes, guys. This was, I think, 2 hours plus. I watched at least an hour of it, okay? As soon as I saw it was on, I was like, man. We literally went live, I think, within 10 minutes of it wrapping up because it was that explosive to me. Because, again, when I said Chaos 2020, one side is going to think it's a coup no matter what. The, left, the TDS people, the ones that wouldn't even admit that Biden, was mentored by a bigot, by a racist, Robert Byrd, by a Klansman. They wouldn't admit that Biden was on tape numerous times, sniffing and touching children in a manner in the halls of government that is so appalling and repugnant, that should have disqualified him. People that thought that the Hunter Biden laptop scandal was Russian disinformation. All those people have now been conditioned to believe their next president is not Donald Trump. Because quite frankly, they could give a rat's ass whether it's actually Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or a pineapple. I know I've been talking about pineapples lately. I don't know why. Maybe I need one. Maybe I need some of that delicious, a fresh pineapple. Yummy. Okay? So they've already been conditioned to believe it's over. We got them. We did it. We changed America. Okay? Now on the other side, the Trump side, they believed out of the gates, what? The election was stolen. And it may have well been, but I'm not weighing in on that, YouTube, because I know I'm going to get a little fact check just from those guys being in the thumbnail. You notice I didn't put anything about the election in the thumb or in the title? Guys, I got a fact check under my Jim Jones video from Jonestown and the Kool-Aid yesterday. It wasn't even like a real fact check. I mean, talk about bizarro world that we live in. Do you want a bunch of digital tech overlords, Trump or not? Trump or not deciding what you can talk about? Give me a break. Give me a break. So again, all of this stuff is now out there. They're saying this is how they're going to lay out the court cases. I believe they only have 3 lawsuits left. And they're also saying every single one of the states that he was winning the night before cheated him. Okay? It was spicy. I'll say that. It was pretty spicy. And we'll see where the evidence goes, right? How much evidence? Because they talked about Dominion. They talked about the voting machines. He brought up Jimmy Carter. He brought up receipts. And again, this program has dared to look at what? The voting machines, not just the mail-in ballots, and how there should have been a receipt 15 years ago, and that's what Baker and Carter talked about. And said that they should be automatically audited 1% to 2% randomly. We have none of that. We have none of that. We do have foreign companies. So that is interesting. If, who gets the server, the good guys or the bad guys? Who are the good guys and the bad guys? There's a lot of gray area, especially right now. Is the will of the people really being met? Should these, no matter what you believe, here's the thing, okay? We should all think one person, one vote, one ballot, a receipt, something that can be recounted, period. We have the technology. That's not what they want. These guys don't want an actual constitutional republic. Klaus doesn't want the Constitution. Schwabe, okay, he doesn't. Peter Thiel, he doesn't. All right? Jack Dorsey doesn't give a rat's ass. He'll comb his beard and cackle inside his mind all day long on a beach with Sean Penn. They don't care. And in the chance that somehow this gets to the Supreme Court, because I really believe no matter what, it would have to be the Supreme Court that puts the levers into motion to change the election results from what the media has called, not that's what has been certified or the Electoral College has voted on, because that's a ways away, right? Not from that. But what the media has called to, now they're stealing the election. And you don't think they're going to go full coup? They're going to say that Trump illegally did this or illegally did that. He's the villain. And guys, again, I know, you're a Trump bootlicker. I don't know how you can see it any other way at this point. Okay, I don't love Trump. We've gone over 1 million times. In fact, if Trump was so great, he would have disbanded this. He would have done executive orders. He wouldn't let these tech hearings continue earlier this week where they're just calling for more and more censorship. Well, you didn't censor this. Why didn't you censor that? Censor this, that. What's going on? I mean, come on. So, guys, again, the big takeaways here is just about everything you've seen via, sites like Breitbart, the Gateway Pundit. Bannon has said there's no doubt that Trump is going to win and that it's going to be called for him in the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying that, but can you imagine if that happens? Now, whether or not that's the will of the people and whether or not I believe that's the will of the people, Chaos 2020 has just begun. Because if the left thinks there's a coup and they had all these resources to get the media to, again, say the election was over. Oh, I mean, fact checks everywhere. Fact checks throughout our lives while we're muzzled in public. Well, a transhumanist agenda is upon us. If they can do that, how do you think it plays out after? If you've seen Portland, if you've seen New York City during those riots, or Chicago during those riots, or California during those riots, if you see what LA looks like, if you see what New York City looks like, where do you think this is going? Where do you think it's going? And I've said it from day one. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who says what during this election. And what did I tell you? That we wouldn't have a winner. And in most people's minds, we still don't, other than the people that just believe outright that Joe Biden has won. But again, if the narrative begins to change via the courts, we're going to have a very different situation, aren't we? So, all I can say is, guys, we have to be the great resistance. As you know, I'm actually, later today, I'm going to be down at the River Center. If you are in the Quad Cities area, tomorrow night and Saturday night, I want to remind everybody, Caged Aggression, MMA, yeah, baby. See, I'm not down with a new normal, okay? I don't want a mandatory mask. I want to make that very, very clear. I don't want a mandatory mask. I don't want a mandatory vaccine. I don't want any of that. I want my freedom. I want my constitutional rights. I want to be able to go out and have fun with people. So if you're in the area, $35, I think, and 75 there's not many cage side seats, but still $35. There's not a bad seat in the house. 2 nights. And guys, if you want to support something that's pushing back against this, because they did try to shut this down. In fact, it was shut down for a day and a half. I'm going to the weigh-ins later. And actually at 2 o'clock, we're going to have the Caged Aggression. So in a little less than an hour, we're going to have the Caged Aggression founder on. And we're going to go over how you can support this. It's $24.99 for the pay-per-view each night. Not a lot of great fights on the Saturday night UFC card. Consider it if you're a fan. Support this type of thing. Make it financially viable against the billionaires, the leviathans, the monopolies. And guys, I do it several times a day. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. They've demonetized me here for 7 months. Why? Why? Because I just reported on a press conference? With somebody I don't even like. I don't even like Rudy Giuliani. And Sidney Powell, who honestly, I really don't have anything against. From what I've seen of Sidney Powell, she presents factual information. I have yet to anybody show me where she's like a scam artist. Okay? I saw what they did to Flynn, whether you like him or not. They got him with the Logan Act. You know who'd been talking about the Logan Act a decade prior? This guy. But I wasn't talking about it to get people like Michael Flynn unless they'd been to something called the Bilderberg Group, which, by the way, Klaus Schwab happens to be a steering member on, formerly. Yeah, that's where we're going, guys. So $5, $10, $15, big donors. Again, I couldn't do it without you. Really love to pick up the pace on this and actually hit my goal. Remember, Rockfin. Over at Rockfin right now, there's a 30-plus minute exclusive, right? It's free. We do it free and live over at Rockfin 5 days a week, 11 a.m. Eastern. And we keep it up there for at least 24 hours. If you do go premium, you get all the archives after the fact, and you get everybody else's content. It's like a Netflix for creators. And by the way, they're using technology to allow me to live stream right now, right? And they're empowering me with that technology. They're not trying to enslave me through that technology, through censoring what I can say and saying, no, don't give opinion. No, you're not Associated Press. No. Check out the documentary films in the playlist section. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture are free right here, right now. You gotta check them out. I mean, it's so easy. They're right here. If you haven't seen my movies, man, if you don't know what it's really about, it's not just about me ranting and raving about what's going on in the world. It's about them setting precedents decades earlier and me exposing them via their operations, okay? That's the truth. So thumbs it up, subscribe, share if you're not a member of the Burmese Brigade. And guys, I will see you shortly on the flip side. I love all of you. And we're going to keep up with this because this is the fire that MAGA crowd wanted, and they're going to run with big time. It's only just begun, I promise you.